I'll get this process rolling here. Good morning, good morning. We'll get started in just a minute. 45 seconds to be exact. All right. Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Good to see you. Happy Monday morning, everybody. Look at all the bright-eyed and bushy-tailed people on Monday morning. Yeah, right. Jason, are you back?
I'm back.
I'm back. All right,
I'm back,
man.
bro.
I saw you in a concert in the UK in like some underground dungeon. It was awesome.
Ah, Switzerland.
And we're live on Facebook, just FYI, just so I warn you.
Yeah. Now I'm back, bro.
That's exciting, man. I'm glad to have you back and excited for the call today. Well, listen, good morning, everybody. I am going to get started and every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, I do free coaching calls and it's meant to be for you. So we've got a lot of people popping in here. We are pushing this live on Facebook after many requests. So this portion, like I said, the recorded coaching portion in the morning will be promoted on Facebook. I'll go off Facebook, off recording. We'll get into an intimate Q&A session where if you have something you want to talk about that is not on Facebook and not in a group format, that's where we'll be. Okay. So with that, let me jump into my prepared piece this morning, the part that I think is valuable. And every week I try to bring something that's going to add value to your business. This is a production only call. So we don't talk about any kind of team growth and any of that organizational stuff. It's strictly just you and your particular production in your business. And so for number one, the thing that I think carries the most weight right now is the market awareness. What's going on in the market, right? That's the question you're going to get at the supermarket. That's what's going on in our world as we know it when we start talking about real estate. Number one question, oh, what are rates doing? Or what's the market doing? Or whatever's going on, right? So you have a fiduciary responsibility to your clients to have this information, but really it's going to be your superpower because the agents that are really in tune with this in a positive light, by the way, not the doom and gloom, not the ones that are on, going, the sky is falling for sure now. The house has dropped 0.3%. It's happening for sure. I've been available to have some of those comments in the last few months myself. But the reality is living in a place that's valuable for your clients with factual information and really kind of discerning the difference between market knowledge and what's going on in the news, right? The news media is not always the best source for this. So I look at gathering it from several places, really watching every market's a little different. Eric up in Salem, Oregon, and Kara that's in North Carolina. It's a different market for everybody that might be on the call. But understanding your market, what's going on, looking at the leading and lagging indicators of your particular market is going to be what you want to have education-wise to have a valuable conversation with potential clients. So what that looks like is leading indicators are typically price reductions, time on market, new listings. Lagging indicators could be pendings, but typically it's closed escrows. It's what's historically going on that we can then lay to a graph or say it's impacting, right? Interest rates, kind of a leading indicator. If they go up again in June and July, we can see what's going to happen to the buyers that are removed from the market. So really market knowledge versus having your head in the sand is a big deal right now. as we transition in and try to stay out of the negative category, it's really easy to get it on the negative train with what's going on in the world. There's a lot of conversations happening around rates and gas prices. I mean, my son last night goes, yeah, I filled up the work truck yesterday, the work truck I've owned for 10 years, and I sold it to him. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, it was $168. And I was like, what? $168 to fill up the work truck? And he goes, yeah, it's like takes 28 gallons and it's $6 a gallon. I was just like, I had not put that into relationship as of late, right? It used to be $100 to fill the thing up. Now it's $168. And that conversation with me kind of startled me. But again, it's a conversation that him and I were having that just had relevance all of a sudden. But, looking at what's going on with the economy, look at what's going on with rates, look at what's going on, housing numbers, all these things, right? Stay laser focused positively wise on what you can manipulate, what you could talk about in your particular market, and watching those numbers of price reductions are the number one things to be looking out for right now, I believe. And then time on market. As we see price reductions, they were up 66% in our market, and then time on market is up. So those two things are leading indicators of what's going on, regardless what's going on in the Biden administration. We're one United States, so we need to look at this from that perspective and stop taking sides on this. But when you look at it, it has nothing to do with what's going on geographically in your area, nationally, potentially, right? So just knowing that. Number two, the thing that gets me is what's below you. Think about this statement for a minute. What's below you in your real estate career? Are open houses below you? Are door knocking below you? Is like, I didn't sign up to door knock, right? So do you come from a place of cold calling or prospecting being below you, door knocking, And I heard a great story this weekend. I was actually in a golf tournament on Friday. Andrea Beam, an agent here in Oregon that we brought in, has a large team of about 10 or 11 people. The guy I was golfing with, Tommy, goes, oh, Andrea Beam, I remember her. She door knocked my house like 8 years ago and handed me a little magnet for my refrigerator. I'm like, oh, awesome. And I thought that was the end of the story, but he remembered it. And then he goes, no, she handed me this little magnet and it had her picture at the top. And then down the middle was the Oregon Ducks and the Oregon State Beavers, right? The two big college teams here in Oregon. And I remember that the story went, he goes, yeah, she handed it to me. And I said, oh, I'm going to have to cut half of this off. And she goes, yeah, you could cut off the Beavers or the Ducks, depending on which team you like. He goes, no, I was going to cut off your head at the top. So I had just the football teams and not you. And they giggled about it. But the fact was that was impressionable from 8 years ago. So when we were on the golf course, I ran into Andrea and I told her the story. She goes, I totally remember that guy. He lives over here in Bridlewood and all these things from 8 years ago, right? From a door knock. Is she door knocking today? Probably not. She's going to do 100 transactions or teams a team, but they weren't beyond that at the time that they needed to be. They weren't beyond door knocking when they were building their careers. And so again, I just ask you, in your career, in your position, in your business, is that below you? Do you believe that that's either below you or a waste of time? And if you have 10 transactions, then obviously your time could be spent well, maybe somewhere else. But I thought that story was very impactful because I remember door knocking 100 doors a day in the beginning of my career, doing a century day, it's called. And it was coming from, I think, Mike Ferry or maybe Tom Ferry at the time. And it was like, if you don't have enough business, go out and earn it. Just go make it, right? Sweat equity versus check equity. And I was like, I got all the sweat equity I need. I was excited about real estate, but I only had a couple transactions going. And believe it or not, that 100 doors a day, the century doors knocked every day, were having a massive impact on our business and providing opportunities in an otherwise challenging market. And so I'm not saying go out and door knock. That's may not be in your repertoire what you want to do, but just think of it from a perspective, is it below you? Because nothing's below me when it comes to succeeding in business, right? Nothing's below me. And if we're making calls, I talked to so many agents that go, I don't cold call. I've never made a cold call in my life. I disagree if you're in real estate. You just may not frame it or reference it the same. But every time you're picking up a phone, calling somebody that came to your website is effectively a cold call, right? You have no warm relationship. You have no understanding of them. So you've got to make that cold introduction. What's the difference of that versus calling somebody and finding out if you could help them find out what their house value is or do a CMA or whatever it may be, right? So when I look at all this that's going on, it comes down to me to mindset. When you are focused on mindset of winning, mindset of what the perfect day looks like. And it's not just positivity. It's not just rah, rah, we're going to do a good job. It's doing the actions from that mental positivity that allows you to go after, the things that may be demons in your business and maybe the things that are holding you back. And as a coach, I can't tell you how many times I've asked the question, like, what's going on in your business? What do you think's broken? What do you think's working? And they almost always know what's working. They almost always know what's broken. And so from a coach's perspective, I'm like, and why is it broken? Well, I don't know. It's just, it makes my hands sweat when I think about having to call people or go door knock or something because it's outside your comfort zone. But I just want you to leave this message this morning. Is it below you? Right? There are non-negotiables in business. For me, non-negotiable is do not treat me badly, right? Do not look down at me. Do not be hostile to me. I love what I do. And I love being in that space of just love and enjoyment and excitement and positivity. I repel drama, both in customers and in friends, right? It's one shoe fits all when it comes to negative behavior. But that's my non-negotiable. Somebody that's rude to my people, we're done talking. I don't care what the sell was. If they're rude or disrespectful and it was out of context, then, we're just not a good fit. It's nothing personal. There's just 1.5 million agents over there who would be happy to work with you. It's not in our best interest to negotiate in that area of how we want to be treated, right? So whatever your non-negotiable could be. And for me, it became no mobile homes. Nothing personal about mobile homes. It's just there's a specialty in it. There's a price point in it. There's all these other things that come into play. When you're new in business, you take on whatever you need to. If you got zero escrows, I guarantee you, I will happily list, and I will do an open house in a mobile home. And ideally, we build a business up to the point to where we could start identifying who our perfect customer is. Perfect customer could mean price point, could mean luxury, could mean whatever it is in between, right? Whatever it is for you. What I love to do with my coaching clients is look at you in a one-on-one perspective and say, who's your perfect avatar? Like, who is your perfect client? And I've got some coaching clients that their perfect client is a north of 1 million buyer or seller. Ideally, somebody that is a highly successful executive CEO type that needs me to handle everything so they can get about their lives, right? And I've got other clients that their favorite perfect avatar customer is a first-time home buyer that needs total coddling, that needs that, daily communication. It's whoever your avatar is, and it can change over time, by the way. But as you're on this call today, think about internally, you don't have to speak up, but think about who is your perfect avatar. By the way, this bridges across construction, CPAs, real estate, lending. This is an entrepreneur question. This is a like a boss question. Who is your perfect avatar? And then how much time are you spending finding that perfect avatar versus being reactionary to your business, right? This is a big one. Because when you can laser focus on this, then you can laser focus on identifying who may be your perfect avatar. All right. And so when we start looking at perfect avatar, let me pin this. When we start looking at that perfect avatar, be crystal clear in what you want that person to look like in your business. Buyer and seller could be different avatars, by the way. Could be investors, could be a different avatar. Your overall avatar may be investors only, and that's your specialty. Doesn't mean you don't sell single family. All right. It just means your laser focus of your avatar, your perfect business partner, is going to be as such. So when you start looking at this from this perspective, all of a sudden you can get really clear what you want. More importantly, what's coming, what you don't want. Right. And then when that lead comes in or when that opportunity comes in, you could say, does this align with my avatar? No, but I have no other business going on. So I got to keep focusing on shoring up my avatar to get to a point to where I don't need to take on this business. Is not a great fit or not a great avatar. I don't know how many times I've talked to agents that are like, where are you, Dave? Oh, I'm 2.5 hours away over on the coast. Okay, why are you there? I'm helping a buyer. Okay, what's going on there? It's not in your area. It's all these things. It's typically trying to save the amount of money that they would get from a referral fee versus handling the transaction personally, right? There are extreme examples where it's somebody you know personally. Like if Eric Beachy called me and said, I'm looking to buy a house on the coast. Let's go to the coast, right? We're working together on this because he's in my inner circle. He's my VIP, whatever it may be. Past client times 4 or 5 transactions, then I might personally do whatever they need me to do to help them. But it really is not your avatar if you look at it from my perspective, right? So rather than spending a whole day on the coast, in this example, maybe you refer that out. Maybe you do a partnership with somebody if you need to, but you refer that out and then you get back into the time value of finding your avatar that is really helping your business build on that platform. All right. So the last piece of this equation, as we look at it, when we think about understanding the market is very valuable right now more than ever because we're in a shifting market. We're in a recessionary bound market, in my opinion. I just don't think there's anything stopping that other than the inventory that's being shored up. The inventory is still critically low. Housing starts, all these things are looking at that. But there's too many things going on now not to have an adjustment. And what goes up must come down. It's just law, right? It's universal law. That doesn't mean that it's heading to the basement of 2008. It does not mean that. Matter of fact, I don't believe that we're going to see that. But I do believe we'll see some adjustments in the market. And I believe these adjustments are going to take 18 to 24 months to work themselves out. Okay. So with that being said, understanding that hyper-local market for yourself, and then identify, let's work backwards, identify your perfect avatar, and then find out what's below you, right? And I keep saying that so it stings a little bit. Because if you're making 300 grand a year in real estate, and that's a nice, healthy living, then you've identified things that are working for you. And you also identify the things that antagonize you, that don't add value to you, and as we grow, those things will change, right? Your baseline or your non-negotiables are going to be different right now with somebody on this call that's got 1 to 3 transactions in the last 12 months, as opposed to somebody that's got 30 transactions in the last 12 months, right? That baseline's a little bit different of what you will take on and how you work outside of your perfect avatar. And, open houses are a great opportunity to engage in the market right away. And there's a lot of agents that just feel like open houses are below them. I don't personally believe that. Again, door knocking. Door knocking is now business. If you need now business, there's no better way than to have those reactionary conversations from purposeful, knocking on doors and being proactive in that and being focused and again, your avatar of your business of where you want to be, who you want to be with, and what price point you want to be at. So as we wrap up this segment of this morning's coaching and we'll get into the Q&A, are you looking at your perfect avatar and then laser focusing in that area? Are you committed to IPA, income producing activities that may be in your mind below you, right? And you can build into this with volume to get out of these areas that may not be your favorite thing to do right now. There's still things in my organization and in my business I don't want to do every day, but I know foundationally they're necessary for the next steps, and they change over time. And so as we look at the market of what's going on and we leave in a place of identifying what's going on in the market, who's our perfect avatar, what are we good at, and what are we maybe not like in the business as much? There's a lot of people that want to get into investing and into the commercial side of real estate. That's a learning curve. You can't just automatically announce yourself as that You can certainly make that as your avatar and then build into that, but you need some kind of foundational support along the way transactionally, right? You need to pay the bills along the way. And so what I'm talking about today is stuff that's going to pay the bills, stuff that is now activity is going to pay now. And then we progress as we go into that capacity. So we're still recording. We're still live. I will take some Q&A around this topic if you want to. And if you want, just be silent for a few minutes and we'll go off live and we'll get into the closed session of the coaching today. But I wanted to offer it to you. I know there'll be benefit for other listeners as well. Anybody have any questions on this particular information and any questions about this that I can answer while we're live and recording? Ricky, I see your hand up. Yes, sir. Go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Randy, how's it going?
It's going great. Good to see you.
Yeah. So I had a quick question. Being pretty new into my second week active.
Second week in real estate? Nice.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, baby.
Yeah. So
You're not afraid of anything then.
Oh, heck no.
Like it.
I'm curious how you would go about being so new and then determining what your perfect avatar would look like, not having any transactions or anything concrete yet.
That's a great question. I'll answer it with this. I'm gonna have a little fun, by the way. You have a Dodgers shirt on, so automatically, you're out of my avatar because anybody that's not a Giants fan is not allowed to do business with me. So Rams house. Actually, I'm from LA. I love the Rams, and girlfriend's a Rams fan. But so here's the question. You look at things that you love to do, right? Let's say, for instance, and I don't want to get too personal with you, Ricky, but what do you love to do? Sports, outdoor, hunting, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah, sports, a big sports guy, and then just like people, just like being around people, basically.
Okay, so you're in a high I, somebody that enjoys interaction, that fuels you. I'm a high I as well, so I get it. But now let's take sports, for instance, with you. If you want to make your avatar somebody that likes sports as well, maybe it's families, maybe it's people, maybe it's sports enthusiasts, maybe it's sports teams, right? You might get to where you're representing pro football players and pro baseball players and pro hockey players, right? There's a niche for that. But the point is staying in a lane that you love to be in is going to be, you're going to make it where it's not like work. So for you, it might be on a little level, and I don't know much about you, but let's just say you got little kids that are in soccer and little kids that are in baseball. That could become your farm. That could become your geographic farm of people that are like-minded people that you want to be with. So you could be a great soccer dad, but also be the realtor of choice when it comes to these particular categories, right? And then so your avatar may be anybody that is enjoying kids' sports things. And maybe you start donating time. Maybe you start helping with fundraisers. Maybe you start being all these things, right? That's what I'm talking about when it comes to an avatar. Now, you could also go to a second level and say, okay, my avatar within that is people that are looking for move-up homes or people that are looking for investment properties that already own homes. Doesn't mean that Cindy at the game doesn't need to buy a house and you won't help her. It's just your avatar is the people looking for investment properties that you're going to then specialize in. Right? And you could have a couple niches within your business and still have a foundational plan within that business. All right. So let me back it up even a little further, Ricky, since you've been in the business a couple of weeks. Number one, once you identify that avatar, and once you identify that, okay, I'm going to go after in a place of contribution, all the sports teams that my kids are involved with or whatever it may be, right? It could be Rams fans, just FYI. It could be you're the Ram fan realtor, right? But whatever that niche is, you then really focus on building a database around them and what you can do to provide value to them. So from the very first, say you only have 5 people you know and you're fairly new in real estate, wow them with service, wow them with value. And when you're providing value to them about what's going on in the real estate market, what's going on in the investment market, what's happening in Los Angeles, specifically geographically, maybe, right? And you're communicating them on a regular basis of items of value, and you're not asking for much, you're just providing, then that will bring you to a place to where you'll start building a faithful following, raving fans. And when you have raving fans, 1, 5, 10, 20, when you start being purposeful about adding these raving fans, they start building on each other. What I want to caution you in is really looking at who you want to work with. You will work with people you don't want to in the beginning of your career, 100% for sure, right? And they will work with you and they don't want to be with you anymore. It just happens. It's just, you have to just understand that just part of real estate. Make sure that we're in a place that we're not chasing commission. We don't have commission breath of chasing that transaction, because it gets us out of integrity of who we really enjoy being. And anybody that's been in real estate long enough will say, there's lots of customers I wish I didn't work with, and they probably feel the same way, right? There is a perfect alignment for the people we want to be around. I personally want to be around people that I like hanging with. Like my personal team and things are people that I will hang around with. I will go to Tahoe with, I'll go to Vegas with, I'll go to Mexico with. There's nobody in my organizational inner circle that I don't like hanging out with, because my avatar is, I want to find people that I love hanging out with. That's first. Then we could talk about massive real estate successes. Is this helpful?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, that made a lot of sense, especially since I do have some kiddos that are going to be joining sports here soon. Yeah, no, that's huge.
Yeah. So go in there with not the expectation of preying upon all the parents to find business, but go in there from the place of contribution. Oh, you got a little cute one there. Go in from the place of contribution and go in from the place of really adding value to those particular people in a way that might be valuable, which is like investment properties or rentals or a resource site, whatever it may be. All right. Thank you, Ricky. I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Anybody else on this topic before we go off? I know you guys are all afraid to be on Facebook Live. It's all good. Ricky had the power. Anything else?
I just want to say, go Giants.
Go Giants. Thank you.
Yay.
I was waiting for somebody to show me some Giants love.
Yay.
And the Warriors, by the way. But anybody else have any questions about this particular topic before we go off the live and off the recording? And then we'll get into the Q&A section of the coaching that is every single week as well.
Randy, real quick, I know you mentioned like, knowing what the mortgage rates are, the current rates and stuff. What's a good place to go and like get that information from? Just local lenders you deal with, or?
Great question. So yes, I would go to a local lender, but one of the ones I just recently subscribed to, and I've been impressed so far. Let me pull it up. It's called Mortgage News Daily. I don't know if you can see that. Let me go back out of here. The icon is Mortgage News Daily, and then it pulls up all the daily rates and everything that's going on. And it's just a free app called Mortgage News Daily. I'm not a mortgage guy. I've been misquoting what the rates are for a couple of weeks because I wasn't really plugged into this. I was going off what my lenders are saying. And this is a really good average of the US of what mortgage rates are. If they're ticking up, ticking down, it's running 5.50 as a 30-year fixed right now. And then a 15's at 4.84. And so there's just a lot of good info here, Jason. That's a good one. But there's a lot of different apps that will give you up-to-date mortgage rates and mortgage information.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Absolutely. Appreciate it. Anybody else? All right, cool. I'm going to go off the recording. Stay here. We're not leaving, but I'm going to stop the live stream, stop the recording. Have a good day, everybody. Talk to you soon on the recording.